Good morning, fellow Malaysians. This is Matthias Chang from Future Fast Forward. I'm making this address this morning is because all of you may be confused with some recent developments, especially a judgment of the High Court striking out the claim by a very irresponsible person called Izam against the Prime Minister and the directors and management of 1MDB, thereby giving the impression that the Prime Minister and 1MDB board of directors and management had no case at all. Alright? But I want to tell all of you, the judgment of the High Court was correct. I repeat, the judgment of the High Court was correct insofar as the case was before her, and because of the irresponsible, infantile behavior of the plaintiff. Alright? But that doesn't mean that judgment extends to all situations as opposed to confined to the facts of the case before the judge. So let me read to you the headlines of the main facts that was published by New Straits Times TV on 9th April. Okay? These are her key words of the judgment. There was no trial. Izam filed a case against Najib and the NDB directors, etc. They filed an application to strike off Izam's case. Okay? Alright? There was no full trial. So the judge says, the High Court ruled that the legal action brought by Izam was mischievous and his pleadings were merely bare a vermin. Judge Datuk Nik Muhammad, in her decision, said Izam had no locus standi to file the action against the defendants and that he did not plead sufficient details to support his averments. Alright? As a lawyer in practice, objectively evaluating the essence of the judgment, I would agree 1000% judgment of the High Court was correct. And I think it's occasion to condemn the irresponsible attitude and conduct of Izam the plaintiff. If you want to sue the Prime Minister and 1MDB, you must read facts and do thorough research. To go to court and it's observed by the judge, what he said was merely bare a vermin. That means tak ada laku lah. Not even bones, If you have some bones, baby, no flesh and bones. Okay? That's how irresponsible. By his action, he thinks he's a hero, suing Najib. But know that his case will be struck off because it was bare a vermin. This man, Izam, must face Allah for his conduct and trying to misrepresent what he represents. And the court went on to say about the conduct of Izam, an indictment. The thing that disturbed me was what is the actual motive of the plaintiff Izam in filing this action. Whether the action was taken because of his commitment to the country, or was it laced with ulterior motive or any political leaning. I conclude that the action is speculative and mischievous, she said. Absolutely correct, and I support the judge 1000%. That said, it doesn't mean there was no evidence that could be collected and presented to the court. What Izam did was, he didn't bother to do any homework or research, just give bare a vermin. So, you cannot blame the judge for striking out the case. Alright? Having said that, we must now step back and realize, all Malaysia must realize, there is a concerted effort, even before this judgment, that the regime was trying to show that Najib is clean, not involved with 1MDB at all, in any way whatsoever. And that traitor, scumbag Tan Seng Kiao, MP, from DAP give a press statement that he stand by his statement, his press statement, on the publication of the PAC report on 7th April, that there was no evidence or any link to implicate Najib in the hanky-panky involving 1MDB. Okay? Now this again is a very mischievous statement. Alright? And then let's go back a bit more. On 7th March 2018, the IG himself said Joe Low not linked to any 1MDB decisions or deals. 7th March 2018, which I had earlier referred to in my previous speeches. And then on 16 June 2017, the Attorney General made a statement. Tan Sri Muhammad Apandi, Attorney General Tan Sri Muhammad Apandi earlier said there have been no evidence from any investigation conducted by law enforcement agencies in various jurisdictions showing misappropriation of money from one Malaysian development Berhad. Again, right, exonerating 1MDB and Najib for the crimes of money laundering, all right, racketeering, corruption, okay, and whatnot. Yet, on 24th June 2017, all right, Bank Negara came up with a statement, which I've earlier also referred to you in my previous address, that what MD has done shook the very foundations of our banking system. If I may quote to you, as reported in the newspaper in Malaysia Today, this was one of the toughest moments in office, Sinju Daily reported. Although outsiders had very high expectations from Bank Negara, nevertheless it did not have the power to prosecute. So we could issue letters of administrative compound to relevant bodies and financial institutions breaching Bank Negara's regulations in the 1MDB case. I would say that the fines were probably the highest in history, she told the Chinese Vernacular Daily, explaining how the whole matter was settled with the fine being paid. She added that the primary objective of Bank Negara Malaysia in dealing with 1MDB case was to ensure the integrity of the country's financial system. In March last year, Bank Negara said it would initiate appropriate action against 1MDB for failing to produce evidence that used the allocated 1.83 US billion for debt management and restructuring exercises overseas. 1MDB had initially cited these two reasons when asked why the money had not been repatriated to Malaysian shores. Bank Negara then fined 1MDB on 28th April, giving the state-owned investment fund a May 30th deadline to settle the fund. So there you are, all right? Bank Negara, contrary to what IGB says, contrary to what AG says, there were breaches, offense committed by what MDB, its management and what have you. And monies among the 1.83 US billion were not repatriated back to Malaysia or explain how the money went by what MDB, who at that time was already under the management of CEO Arukanda. Okay, so to say money was not missing, no loss was suffered by 1MDB is utter rubbish. Okay, now earlier I said about Tan Sing Kiao, insisting there's nothing to implicate Najib with 1MDB. So I will cite the relevant passages from PAC report published on the 7th of April 2016. Page 24, paragraph 5.2.2.2. Okay? The key words are, the key area where there's a linkage with Najib. It says here, or what area? The 700 million that went to Jolo's account. Okay? Go Star Limited. At this meeting, one MDB board of directors expressed their disappointment when the orders were ignored and the funds distributed to other parties without their knowledge. Observations made by the board of directors were as follows. The board of directors were not informed about the change of plan to transfer an amount of 700 million US dollars from one MDB into an account which was not owned by the joint venture. The money was supposed to be paid into a joint venture account. Okay? Petro Saudi one MDB, but it went somewhere else. The board was also not informed about the change of bank account of the joint venture company from BSI SA Geneva to JP Morgan Swiss Geneva. This raised questions because checks by NAD, the National Audit Department, found that the approval to change the bank account was made by a resolution dated 30 September 2009. The same day when the fund was transferred. But interviews by NAD with some of the former board of directors found that they were not aware of the existence of this resolution, even though their signatures were on it. Funny, huh? Alright? On the day of the transfer, they changed the bank account. Never mind. Then, because of this nonsense, at page 26, it states here, PC report, accordingly, the MDB board of directors instructed the manager to take the appropriate measures as follows. A. Determine whether the USD 700 million from Petro Saudi Holdings Cable Limited can be refunded so that it can be dispersed in accordance with the original plan. 700 million US, we don't talk much. Just catch Najib and all those criminals on one small issue, 700 million US dollars. Then, based on the evidence of documents and interviews with former 1MD board of directors, NAD, National Audit Department, found that instructions from the board of directors were not complied with by 1MD management. The approval given by the board of directors was for the cooperation with Petro Saudi International Limited and not with the subsidiary Petro Saudi Holdings Cayman Limited. Very interesting, despite all this hanky-panky, in the report it says, although one MDB chief executive officer was found not complying to the directives, guidelines, and corporate governance, the one MDB board of directors still did not take any action against it. Now, we come to one part that involves Najib. Page 27, paragraph 5.2.2.3. One MDB board of directors meeting on 10th October 2009. During this meeting, the one MDB board of directors has raised the need for the valuation of assets, where the management was asked to get 10 names of reputable valuers to be shortlisted and get the approval of the chairman of the advisory board, Najib. Therefore, the manager can discuss with Petro Saudi Holdings Cable Limited on the appointment of a second valuer. Furthermore, one MD board of directors have directed the one MD chief executive officer to provide a comprehensive summary paper to the chairman of advisory board, Najib, which contains the chronology of events related to the joint venture agreement, funding status, and dissatisfaction of board of directors of MDB on the valuation report of assets of Petro Saudi Holdings Cayman Limited. And this key part, so the board of directors has directed CEO get a proper valuation, all right, and give a report. However, during the one MB board of directors meeting on 7 November 2009, Mr. Sharul Azral informed that the second valuation should not be made on the assets of the joint venture company, as the chairman of the advisory board did not agree with the proposal, but directed the one MD board of directors to appoint a consulting company to assess the ownership of the joint venture company. However, checks by NA found no document to prove that the appointment of consultants had been made. There was hanky-panky. The joint venture had no assets. The valuation was a scam. Therefore, the board of directors asked there must be a second valuation of the assets of the joint venture. Sharon was asked to tell Najib. Najib overruled. Why did Najib overrule? Why did Najib overrule the need to have a proper valuation of the assets of which the Malaysian taxpayer has paid over 1.83 billion US? The bastard criminal Saudis had nothing to show. We paid cash. They say they were dumping assets, but the assets were scam. Okay? NAD checks found that the joint venture agreement had a clause stipulating that all financial reports, accounts, and operations must be submitted to the shareholders on a quarterly basis. And the shareholder of 1MDB is Najib, the finance minister. However, the documents could not be submitted by 1MDB to be checked by NAD. During the period of joint venture project, the 1MDB board of directors was not informed in where the fund has been invested by the joint venture company. Can you imagine that? So, for Tai Seng Kiao to say there was no implication at all involving Najib with 1MDB is bullshit. Bullshit. Alright? He took an active part insofar as one issue. He countermanded the board's decision under Article 7 of the MLA. So Tai Seng Kiao, I challenge you to open debate. You want to stand by your press statement that Najib is not implicated in any way in 1MDB? You're a scumbag and a traitor to the people of Malaysia. Now I'll come to the essence of my speech. I'm telling you, alright, that I will review more documentary evidence against Joe Low, that criminal bastard, okay? The scumbag artist, the money launderer, okay? And what he's done to destroy our country and the trust we took years to build to the integrity, credibility of our government, of our nation. Now, the first document is official document, right? From the Office of Prime Minister of Malaysia. Let's see what he said on 4th April 2015. Alright? The last sentence is very important. Okay? This is a statement, right? Okay? Prime Minister Najib Razak said, if any wrongdoing is proven, the law will be enforced without exception. Prime Minister's Office, 4th March 2015. Statement 1MDB. Perdana Menteri, pejabat Perdana Menteri. Okay? This was a summary of what happened in the cabinet meeting. Okay? Because following recent media reports of 1MDB, the Prime Minister today called 1MDB and the auditors Deloitte before the cabinet to give a explanation briefing. Okay? So, he asked, the action taken in wrongdoing is proven. And then, on 5th July 2005, recall what Zahid and Khalid said. Okay? Take legal action against Wall Street Journal, PM urged. Start online, 5th July 2005. The key parts of this report. It's up to the Prime Minister to discuss with his lawyers or the Attorney General of possible action to be taken either in his individual capacity or as leader of the country. Alright? This is what was asserted by Dato Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, the Home Minister at the material time. And then, you, the Sports Minister Khalid Jamaluddin, will support the Prime Minister if he sues Wall Street Journal. It is his right to bring legal action because it's a very serious allegation. Right? Because Wall Street Journal exposed the crimes committed by MDB and how money, all right, was siphoned out and laundered. Now, some of you may have forgotten, Najib has sacked 2 previous auditors. And then, subsequently, he appointed Deloitte. And initially, Deloitte audited the accounts. But subsequently, Deloitte issued a statement. Issued 27 July 2016. It says here, on July 20th, 2016, the Office of the Attorney General of the United States of America announced that the Department of Justice filed a civil forfeiture complaint against certain entities and individuals and contemporaneously filed written actions seeking the forfeiture of numerous assets held in the names of these parties. According to the complaint filed, this is a civil action to forfeit assets involved and traceable to an international conspiracy to launder money appropriated from one MDB. Okay? This is what Deloitte says, the background. The complaint contains information which, if known at the time of the 2013 and 2014 audit of one MDB, would have impacted the financial statements and affected the audit reports, and accordingly those audit reports issued by Deloitte Malaysia dated March 28, 2014 and November 5, 2014 respectively, in connection with the 2013 and 2014 financial statements of one MDB, should no longer be relied upon. And then says, resignations auditors. On February 26, 2016, Deloitte Malaysia had tendered its notice of resignation as auditors of one MDB to one MDB's board of directors and had lodged a notice of resignation with the Companies Commission of Malaysia. Since that date, one MDB had advised it was focused on finding a new auditor, but is yet to inform Deloitte Malaysia on the appointment of any new auditor. July 2016. Okay? So, whatever was audited in 2013, 2014, alright, is no longer valid or supported by Deloitte. They withdraw. Okay, they withdrew the audit. To today, we have to know from one MDB, where are the audit reports from that time when Deloitte says they withdrew the report. And then now, to show that crimes have been committed, okay, 24th May 2016, this is the Monetary Authority of Singapore. Okay, let me read to you. The Monetary Authority of Singapore announced today they have served BSI Bank Limited notice of intention to withdraw its status as a merchant bank in Singapore for serious breaches of anti-money laundering requirements, poor management oversight of bank operations, and gross misconduct by some of its bank staff. Okay? Now, it is a very long statement, alright? I shan't go through with you, but this is the first indication that I know of that MAS, the Central Bank of Singapore, has taken action against BSI Bank, the bank that money laundered together with Jolo, money from MDB. Okay. And then, in a report dated 21st July 2016, okay, right? This is what happens, right? The report, okay? Entitled Singapore Financial Institutions were used for dubious one MDB deals. Monetary Authority says, citing serious lapses. Okay? Read to you first paragraph. The Monetary Authority of Singapore said Thursday that some financial institutions in the major financial centers were used to facilitate dubious financial dealings linked to scandal-hit Malaysian State Investment Fund, 1MDB. Certain financial institutions in Singapore were among those used as conduits for this transaction. It said just a day after US government moved to seize more than $1 US $1 billion in assets it believes to be brought with money stolen from MDB. Then it goes on, keywords. It says oral investigation into one MDB case have revealed a complex international web of transactions involving multiple entities and individuals operating in several jurisdictions. There was extensive layering of transactions and subterfuge aimed at disguising the nature of certain individuals and fund flows. In some instances, shell or unauthorized companies domiciled in various jurisdictions were used to conceal the true beneficiaries of the funds. Meanwhile, a separate joint statement from Singapore Attorney General's Chambers, the Commercial Affairs Department, the Singapore Police Force, and the Monetary of Singapore said that the city-state's authorities so far have seized bank accounts belonging to various individuals representing assets amounting to Singapore 240 million, US 176.80 million. In their investigations into possible money laundering, securities fraud, and other offences linked to what MD funds flows to Singapore. Of these bank accounts and properties, about Singapore 120 million belong to Malaysian financier Joe Low, a long-time friend of Prime Minister Najib Razak's son. The fund flows being investigated include those connected with Good Star Limited Seychelles, owned by Joe Low, which belongs to Joe Low, Arba Investment PJS Limited, Arba Investment PJS Limited Seychelles, and Tenor Finance Corporation. Okay, and in May this year, MAS withdrew the merchant banking license of Switzerland's BSI Bank due to serious breaches of anti-money laundering regulations at the bank branch in Singapore. Okay, it marked the first time in over 3 years for a merchant bank in Singapore to be ordered to shut down. And this one is very critical. A joint statement of all the key institutions in Singapore. Okay, the Central Bank, Attorney General Chambers, right? Commercial Affairs Department, Singapore Police Force. Okay, key parts. Singapore investigation began in March 2005 and still in progress. The fund flows being investigated include those connected with Good Star Limited Seychelles, Arba Investment PJS Limited, Arba Investment PJS Limited Seychelles, and Tenor Finance Corporation. Okay. Then it says of these bank accounts and properties, about 120 million in Singapore belong to Mr. Low Teck Joe and his immediate family. Next part, the critical parts of the statement. Today, 2 individuals, Mr. Yo Jai Wei and Mr. Calvin Ang, has been charged for various offences. Several other individuals are still being questioned and investigated. And then it goes to say, actions to be taken against financial institutions. MAS announced today that its supervisory examinations of financial institutions with one MDB related fund flows have revealed a complex international web of transactions involving multiple entities and individuals operating in several jurisdictions. Okay? Then it goes on. The deficiencies observed in DBS, SCB, Standard Chartered Bank, and UBS related to lapses in specific processes and by individual officers. The lapses were serious in their own right and will be met by firm or regulatory actions against the banks. Okay? Then, on 11 October 2016, MAS closed down Falcon Bank. Alright? The keywords. Falcon Bank has been operating as a merchant bank in Singapore since August 2008, offering boutique private banking services. It's headquartered in Switzerland MAS conducted inspections of Falcon banks in 2013 and 2015. The 2013 inspection found weaknesses in the bank's control for client acceptance and transaction surveillance that led to breaches of MAS anti-money laundering requirements. Okay, then the merchant bank head office failed to guard against conflict of interest when managing an account of a customer who was associated with the bank's former board chairman, Muhammad Ahmad Badawi Al-Husseini. Okay? The former chairman misled and influenced the Singapore branch into processing the customer's unusually large transactions despite multiple red flags. Alright? Falcon Bank has demonstrated a persistent and severe lack of understanding of MAS anti-money laundering requirements and expectations. MAS has imposed on Falcon Bank financial penalties amounting to 4.3 million Singapore for 14 breaches of MAS Notice 1014, prevention of money laundering and countering of financial terrorism. Okay. And then, on 5th January 2017, news report by Channel News Asia, Falcon Private Bank branch manager, fifth to be charged in one MD probe. The Monetary Authority of Singapore shut down Falcon Private Bank, and the manager, Sturzenegger, was arrested by the Commercial Defence Department on October 5th last year. One of the charges stated that Sturzenegger allegedly connived in the bank's failure to report the suspicious transaction involving inflow of about 1.265 billion US into two Falcon Bank accounts in March 2013. Then it says, he approved Ms. Wijaja, informing the mask officer that the person the bank was dealing with was one Mr. Tan, but the bank was actually dealing with a Malaysian businessman, Loh Tek Joe, who was said to be using an email address to give the impression that his surname was Tan. The offence was said to have occurred in July 2015. So Joe Loh, in conspiracy with the manager of Falcon Bank, asked an employee, a lady, Vijaya, to misinform MAS as to who owns the account. That it was one Mr. Tan, but in actual fact, it was Joe Loh. And then, it says here, former BSI private bankers Yak Yu Chi and Yvonne Sia Yu Fung were convicted of helping to forge documents and failed to report suspicious transactions. Yak was sentenced to 18 weeks jail and fined 24,000 Singapore, while Sia was handed 2 weeks jail and 10,000 Sing fine. Last month, former BSI executive Yeo Jia Wang was sentenced to a further 30 months jail on 4 charges of witness tampering. He faces 7 other charges involving cheating, money laundering and forgery. Yeo had a close relationship with Malaysian businessman Joe Loh, who is considered by Singapore police to be a key person of interest in the money laundering probe. And then, on 30th May 2017, there's a report by Star Online, our newspaper. Singapore MAS completes 2-year review of banks in 1MDB deals. Singapore MAS completes 2-year review of banks in 1MDB deals. The Monetary Authority of Singapore announced today that it has completed its 2-year review of banks involved in 1MDB related transactions known to date. Now, and then this statement by MAS make the following observations. There's a long list, right? I just highlight the key ones. Mr. Stern has been convicted of financial crimes, including providing false information to authorities in an attempt to cover up his knowledge of Family Bank's relationship with Joe Low. Mr. Yang and Ms. Xia were convicted of multiple events of failing to report suspicious transactions and of forging reference letters at BSI Bank on behalf of Mr. Low. Okay? And thereafter, the statement will say that a lot of these accomplices of Joe Low have been banned from ever being involved in the banking industry. Then it says here, MAS supervisory review of financial institutions involved with what MDB related flows is the most extensive it's ever taken. Most extensive. And very importantly, and compared to the behavior and conduct of AG, MACC, our police IGP, Singapore agencies reported expeditiously to request for information or assistance from overseas law enforcement and regulatory authorities. In turn, Singapore submitted similar requests to and received vital information from many countries. The good progress achieved to date would not have been possible without close international cooperation. So what you have here is Singapore telling the whole world, we receive information from overseas and we give information to overseas. There was close cooperation. And yet our IGP says, well, FBI did not contact us or DOJ did not contact us. Switzerland asked for mutual legal assistance, agreed by AG, but never carried forward. How is it? FBI going all over the world to hunt down Joe Low, to hunt down Rizal Aziz and his properties. But we sit in Malaysia, Humpty Dumpty sitting on the wall. Humpty Dumpty will fall. Alright? And will pitch up, I'm telling you. Alright? This is the attitude, you see. Oh, we are so great. They don't ask us, we don't give. But Singapore, on its own, in the course of the investigation, offered evidence of other jurisdictions to help them. It was a close international cooperation. Yet Malaysia on its own, when the crime was committed here, chose to remain quiet and say no evidence, no crime, nothing happened. Hunky-dory, nothing's connected with MDB. Joe was also connected to what MDB. And then the conclusion. Mr. Ravi Menon, Managing Director, MAS said, the 2-year-long one MDB-related review holds key issues for both MAS and financial institutions in Singapore. As a result, MAS has enhanced its anti-money laundering surveillance and taken unprecedented enforcement action against other institutions and individuals. And then in another report, ex-funded Asia head back home after jail sentence in Singapore, 23rd June 2017. It says here, the key was the Swiss banker was accused of looking the other way on more than 1 billion in what MDB flows, and of later lying to investigators about his connection to Joe Low, who US officials allege is the mastermind behind the illicit money trail out of Malaysia into diamonds, fine art, and producing a Hollywood blockbuster. So, how can anyone say in Malaysia, the AG, MACC, the police, and what have you, say there's no connection, no loss suffered by what MDB? When Singapore has said, through the prosecution of the Swiss bankers, who then confessed and revealed, he turned a blind eye. He was working with Joe Low to make sure money passed through the banks. In this case, 1 billion in what MD flows. And he lied about his connection to Joe Low. So, to all my fellow Malaysians, this is very important, right? On the previous occasion, I referred to a lot of documents. I want to tell you, okay? I've uploaded in my previous address all the documents, right? Okay? On 6 April 2018. Okay? So, for this address, to help you and spoon feed you, go to my website. You see? futurefastforward.com. The previous documents were posted to my website on 6 April 2018. Today, those documents which I have referred to in my video speech to you, to save time and didn't do any close-up, is because I've also uploaded the documents to my website, futurefastforward.com. Part 2. Now these are all very critical documents, and I hope what you should do is, they're all in PDF, it's in PDF format. You go to my website, download it, and spread it far and wide, far and wide. Election has started, campaigning has started, a lot of lies have been told, alright? A lot of fake news has been promoted by all various parties to mislead and to confuse you. With the first set of documents on 6 April, it's also in PDF format, covering 4 video addresses, right? Okay, before 6 April. First, second, and third sequels to Joe Low, and today, okay, a second set of documents in PDF format. Please download it, please, and spread it far and wide. Anybody say anything about 1MDB not connected with any crimes, no crimes committed by 1MDB, Naja's not involved in 1MDB, you download this PDF document. Okay? Whatever I have referred to, this whole stack, is in the PDF document. So to you, my fellow Malaysians, we are at a pivot point. Alright? We can win this election if each one of us do our little bit to spread the truth and counter fake news. Okay? We can win. And we will win. Truth will prevail, justice will prevail, provided we surrender completely to the will of Allah Almighty, have absolute faith that He will protect, defend, and guide us under all circumstances in the face of all enemies, adversaries, and evil. We are fighting against evil. Okay? Lies cannot last. Lies cannot last. Because if someone tell a lie, they will require another lie to cover the first lie, a third lie to cover the second lie, and what on. Okay? Go on and on. Lies cannot be covered up. Truth will trash lies. Like I said before, truth is our weapon. The faith in Allah Almighty is the shield to defend us from all the attacks. Do not worry about anti-fake news actor. If you are telling the truth, why should we fear? Why should we fear? Just like, as a non-Muslim, I do not fear hudud or any other law, secular or otherwise. Okay? If you are not committing any crime, why should you worry? If you speak the truth, you uphold the truth, you have nothing to worry. Just be careful. I've told you and I promise you, I will give you the documents for you to do your campaigning. First, within your own family, relatives and friends, and ask them to do the same. It's that simple now, okay? Some of you complain that it's very difficult to use a handphone to photograph my documents, used in my address. I've now got one step in spoon feeding. I've uploaded all my documents at my website. So all you do is go to your computer, your handphone, and just click www.futurefastforward.com. Go to the main page, scroll down, and look for these 2 titles. You'll see, and download it. Because don't ever say to those who are giving their heart and all to the campaign, oh, I support you, I will do this for you, when you're not willing to do the minimum to vote and to spread the truth. With that, I thank all of you for listening to me, please, this will smash Jolo. He's a fugitive on the run, and soon he'll be arrested. Okay? We have to come with the help, offer our help. Win his election, he has nowhere to run. He can hide in China. Understand? Like DOJ said, he, by WeChat, told his captain not to sail to USA, Australia, Singapore, UK. So he hid to Indonesia. Alright? He has nothing to hide. He has not committed a crime. And that yacht, Equanimity, was not bought with, right, the stolen money from MDB. He has no fear. Okay. Riza Aziz has surrendered to DOJ, agreed to pay 16 million. Right? A chair has 4 legs, for which the chief crook sits. 2 legs has gone. Riza Aziz surrendered to DOJ. The other 2 legs is Jolo. This scumbag criminal, this Chinakwai, we cannot let him go. We have to win the election in order to get this fella to answer for his crimes. It will be an insult to our integrity, a grave injustice if we allow Nudge to win and bury the truth. And he comes back to Malaysia gloating that no one could touch him. Jolo. No one could touch him. But believe you me, God will triumph. Allah will triumph. And He will have to answer for His crimes. With that, I thank you, all of you, for your attention. Be a good day and happy campaigning for our victory. Thank you.